Welcome to Coffee Talk with Liquidshano 1973, an inspirational podcast about the ups and downs of life and everything in between. Here's your host, Shane Lakita.
Hey everyone, good morning, good afternoon, whatever time you're listening to this podcast here today. Welcome back to another episode of Coffee Talk. Here I am with you on this journey together, all of us, hand in hand, mano y mano, us going down the road of life and trying to be able to just be the best version of ourselves, going through ups and downs and overs and unders, just the roller coaster that we call life. We're all in it together, every single one of us. All of you listening to the podcast and me speaking into the microphone for the podcast. This is our journey. Now, we can embrace this journey and we can really be a part of what we're doing in this journey. And it's all part of the chapters of our book and all the different things that we have. Or we can run the other direction from it. Well, to be honest with you, let's embrace it. Let's run right into it. Let's get into it. Let's figure out what it is that we need to do to continue to be the best version of ourselves. Now, for all you newcomers, I know I've had a bunch of you pop into my lives over on TikTok and on Instagram and pop in and say you wanted to subscribe to the podcast. Well, welcome aboard, guys. This is my podcast. This is my moment where I sit down with you and we talk about everything. We talk about everything under the sun, whether it's my journey, whether it's the way that I'm going through certain things, whether I'm interviewing people or whether I'm reading some reflections or going through current events or whatever it is that I'm feeling at that moment in time. I talk with you guys about because you're my therapy. You're my sounding board. You're somebody that is there for me to be able to put my thoughts out there and really just kind of get my head wrapped around the right direction. So when I put stuff out here on the podcast and I'm having a conversation with all of you, this is my way of having therapy sessions with you. Now, is it medical? No, it's not. It's just a way for me to be able to just right size. Maybe give myself a brain check every once in a while. And I think all of us need that, right? We all need a little bit of a moment to be able to vent to someone, to have a moment where we can just get stuff off of our chest and just literally let it go. And it's hard to do because you're always trying to either be a positive influence, you're trying to be a good mom or a good dad. You don't have a lot of outlets to be able to just talk about stuff. So you know what I'm going through when I say that this is my outlet. I can't go to my wife every single time and tell her all of my pains and all my sorrows about whether it's weight loss or food addiction or things that I'm trying to be able to do or, losing my job or whatever else, because she's just trying to be able to get through it too. And if I go to her all the time, literally it can cause a rift in our relationship. So this podcast is my way of getting together with you to just talk things out and have a conversation. So like I said, anybody that's new here, this is what we do here. I'm either talking into a microphone and you're listening, or I'm doing an interview so that way we can really glean some good facts and different things that we can pull from other people that have inspired me. So I get up this morning, after yesterday I did a face-to-face interview because as many of you know, I did lose my job fairly recently and I've been applying for different roles and I went up to go do a face-to-face interview after multiple phone interviews and the face-to-face interview went really well. It went really well. It's the first time in 16 years that I had done an interview I was the interviewee, I guess you could call it, and not the interviewer, which is what I was doing multiple times with the company that I was working for before. So here I was sitting there answering questions, digging in, and it felt really good. It was really, really good to get, the wheels greased a little bit to be able to have a conversation, to answer questions, and be proud of myself and speak to the worth of who I am. So I put myself out there. But here was the difference between before and now. Before, when I would go in for interviews like that, I would literally just be hoping and praying that they would just make a decision and say yes to me. Right? Most people do. Especially if you're in desperate times and you're really trying to just find a job. But here I am, pushing almost 50 years old, and I went to go apply for the job. And what I found is through the interview process, not only were they interviewing me, but I was interviewing them. And I was asking them questions to find out if whatever it is that they were offering me was going to meet the needs of what I'm looking for from me and my family. And we went through this long process, and I had this feeling of confidence to be able to really dig in and find out some true details of what I wanted to be able to do if I was going to dive into another job, another occupation, another whole avenue of life. And I did. I dove in, and I found out that really I don't think things were going to meet the way that I want them to meet with me and my family. I deserve it. I deserve to know that I'm worth more than just a dollar figure, barely above minimum wage, to be able to move things forward and use my strengths in a fashion that I can keep moving forward. So I felt like I was in a better spot. So I was talking to somebody about it this morning, and we were just chatting a little bit. And this person had posted something over on TikTok, and they used the background music for the Eminem Lose Yourself song. And here's the thing I wanted to think about today. I wanted to rap with you a little bit about this, because I feel like this is a moment that we all can get to. We can learn from every single time that we're out there trying to be able to live life, achieve goals, do the things that we have to do. So her name is Christy. She actually did the TikTok, and I'm going to read to you the first opening lyric. Most of you guys know this. If any of you are my generation or a little bit younger or a little bit older, it doesn't matter. Lose Yourself by Eminem started off by saying, look, if you had one shot or one opportunity to seize everything you ever wanted in one moment, would you capture it or would you let it slip? Let's think about that. How many times in life has life dealt you cards or dealt you an opportunity that could have been something big, but you let it go? Maybe a stock you wanted to buy. Maybe it's a certain amount of investments that you wanted to be able to push forward with, or a job opportunity that came your way that you were like, nope, I need to settle for this, or whatever it is. And we miss out on the opportunity because we don't give ourselves enough credit, or we don't take advantage of it at that moment in time when it faces us and it sits in front of us and the opportunity is there for you to grab it, but you just don't. And then, we'll go over that in just a minute, but think about that for just a second. First thing I want you to do is I want you to sit down and take a look at how many opportunities have been risen or have been given to you or afforded you the opportunity to take advantage of that you haven't taken advantage of. Things that you regret in certain parts of your life already in your young life. Think about those things, okay? Maybe it was a job. Maybe it was money. Maybe it was relationships. Maybe it was whatever. Whatever you can do, I want you to make a list of the things that you regret not doing already in our young portion of life. Now, I talk about all the time on this podcast. So I say at the end of your life, when you're sitting on your deathbed and you're thinking to yourself, I should have done and I could have done and I would have done over and over and over again, this is another opportunity you can do right now, whether you're in your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, or your 60s. You can sit down and you can take a look at what is it that I've been given an opportunity to do, but I haven't done because I'm afraid, or I doubt myself, or I don't want to fail, or whatever reason that you have that you can list out saying the reason that you don't go for these things is because you just lack in that self-confidence and that worth that we were talking about. And the reason I bring this up is because when I went through that interview process, and I sat down with them and started interviewing them and understood all of a sudden, maybe they weren't meeting my needs. Now, wait a minute. This is a job that basically pays whatever it pays and wants you to work for them. What gives me the right to sit down and interview this job? What gives me the right to flip the script for me to ask them questions and me to dig in with them to ask them if they're going to meet my needs? It's almost like flipping the script, isn't it? Isn't it like the reverse psychology aspect of it? No, the real reason is because I've earned that right. I'm worth more than that. I'm worthy of asking those questions because I'm only on this earth for a short amount of time. And if I continue to punch the clock of doing something that I don't love, or I don't find gratitude from, or I don't find value from, over and over again, I'm just going to keep going down this cyclical place. And then by the time I'm on my deathbed again, I'm going to be regretting the decisions that I made in my life. So my time is now. I've been afforded the opportunity, because I've already gone through the range of emotions with the loss of a job, right? Everybody knows this feeling because there's a lot of people that are unemployed right now in the States. You go through this range of emotions. You lose a job, maybe it's one that you've invested in many years. I invested just about 15 years in the job that I was working, right? And you go through this range of emotions. One of them is you go through sadness, right? Sadness of, oh my goodness, I can't believe this. I'm devastated. Then you go through anger. I can't believe they would do this to me. I can't believe that they would literally put me out there like that and literally just make me feel like I'm less of a man or less of a woman, and I can't believe they did it, right? Then you have some regrets of, I should have done it this way. I should have done that way. I should have interviewed this way, or maybe I could have done things differently, or whatever else if it's a job that you think that you loved, right? All kinds of range of emotions. And then you go through the phase of kind of what I'm at right now, where I'm going to look back on this whole entire journey, and I'm going to say to the company that let me go, I'm going to say to them, hey, listen, you know what? At the end of the day, you're going to regret that decision. I'm going to prove you wrong for you making the decision that you made. Right? So that's kind of the phase that I'm in right now, because I'm worthy, because I'm smart, because I've studied, because I've achieved degrees, and I've worked my tail off in the space that I'm playing in, and I've done everything I can to be able to elevate my performance and keep things moving forward and be the best version of me. And all these things all are put into this big, huge kit and caboodle for me to be able to know that I can take this anywhere I go, and these are my strengths, and these are the things that I bring that are worthy of anyone to look at me to hire me, right? So when you listen to the words in the beginning of that Eminem song, which is a pretty powerful statement when you think about it, if you had one shot or one opportunity to seize everything you ever wanted in one moment, would you capture it? So let's talk about that for a second. Like I said in the beginning here, we wanted to be able to open this whole entire dialogue, open up this podcast with making a list of the things that you regret that you haven't done. Maybe there are things that have passed you by, and you know they have, and you've seen them pass you by, and then you go, crap, man, I should have taken advantage of that. I should have jumped all over that. Things that woulda, coulda, shoulda, right? Those things of in the wrong place at the wrong time, or didn't have the money to spend on a certain investment, or whatever it is that you have listed out on your piece of paper right now. Hopefully that's what you were doing in the beginning of the podcast. If not, you can pause now, and you can do that. List out some things that have been given or afforded to you, and you did not take advantage of. Okay? So that's the first thing. Just the actual item, not the reasons, because we're going to get into that next. But just the items, just those situations that you should have taken advantage of, but you didn't take advantage of for whatever reasons that they were, you just didn't do it. Okay, so now let's get into the reasons why. What is the reason that you didn't take advantage of those certain situations? Okay, so you've got them listed out, line by line item. You've got them all listed, because I did it this morning myself. These are items that you have missed out opportunities on. So I want you to go through them. And I want you to say, why didn't I take advantage of that reason? Now, some of them are going to be very valid reasons, right? Money, cash, time, babies, marriage, whatever it is, patience. Some of these reasons may seem like they're super valid. But here's what I want to do. I want to take a look at all of these things, all these items that you've listed out there, to say why I didn't take advantage of those opportunities to make my dreams come true, or do some things that could be leaning me towards making my dreams come true, and why didn't I do them? Now, if you're listing things like fear or apprehension or nerves or self-doubt or self-love, don't have faith in myself, whatever it is that you're listing out the reasons of, if these are internal mechanisms, internal feelings, and internal windings of how you feel about the situation, these are the times that we have to lean in on what we're doing. Because now we know the root cause to us closing our mind and closing our eyes and not actually listening to ourselves and not actually listening to the opportunities that are in front of us, because we sit here and we don't take advantage of the situations. We don't open our eyes. We don't open our ears to any opportunity that's given our way, because we're filled with noise, doubt, and regret. We're afraid of whatever the situation is going to be, we're going to fail. We're afraid whatever the situation is going to be, that society will tell us that we're not supposed to get that. I've done it so many times, and that's the only reason why I'm speaking to it, is because these are my inequities. These are the things that I've done wrong. There's been many things that have come by me and passed me by in front of my face that I didn't even see at the time, because I was too blinded. I was too blinded by the corporate structure. I was too blinded by career paths. I was too blinded by whatever relationship that I was in, et cetera, et cetera. All these things that we've all done, We need to start to open our eyes. Listen, if the question is, if you had one chance to be able to take advantage of an opportunity that's literally going to change your life and help you fulfill your dreams, would you take it? More often than not, I'm just going to be quite honest with you, I don't think a lot of people would. Because I think if everybody would, we'd all be going for our dreams. We'd all be living fat and happy right now. But the fact of the matter is that we don't listen. We don't open our eyes. We don't open our ears. We don't check out opportunities that are actually faced in front of us. We just don't. We fill our lives with noise, excuses, depression, sadness. We get stuck in front of the TV watching the news. How about this? How about the fact that there's many of us across the country, across the world, that are stuck inside right now? We're stuck in quarantine. We're not allowed to go places. We're all stuck inside with masks and everything else, and we're all in this opportunity where we could literally take advantage of this opportunity. How many of you have actually gone out and started a new business or started a new venture or done something new to start to take advantage of and lean in on the direction that you want to lean in on? The other day, my buddy John and I, we did a video cast, and it was about a couple weeks ago. And we were talking about how some people have taken advantage of the quarantine time frame to get in shape. Most people have gained weight, right? But some people have taken shape or taken advantage of it to jump out there to do some exercise, lose some weight, maybe lift some weights, whatever it is that they want to be able to do, and they've really taken advantage of it. And I said, how come more of us haven't taken advantage of the opportunity to be able to better ourselves? Is it because we're waiting for things to come to us? Is it because it's not the normal, and so we're kind of wallowed in our depression or sadness or those kind of things? I mean, what's the reason that we haven't every single one of us, taken advantage of it? If you're working from home, why haven't you bettered yourself? Started a blog, started recording podcasts, get healthy, go for runs. Whatever it is that your passion is, a lot of people haven't necessarily taken advantage of it. And why is that? Why do you think the reason that they haven't taken advantage of it is? Is it because they don't have faith in themselves? Is it because they think that if anybody else knows that this is what they want to try to be able to accomplish, they might get ridicule? They may have people looking at them saying, what the hell are you thinking? Right? How many people, I've met a few, have literally flipped everything upside down and became social media influencers during the quarantine when they were working your 5 days a week or 6 days a week corporate jobs and doing the things they're doing. But now they're really leaning in on being content creators and trying to be able to move that forward. And most people, to be quite honest with you, look at that and say, you're crazy. Why would you give up the stability of a 5-day-a-week job or a 40-hour-a-week job and something that comes with benefits and whatever else to do some stupid social media thing? I personally have been told this by people. There's no money in podcasting. What are you doing? Unless you're a big, huge podcaster like Mike Rowe or Joe Rogan. You got nothing, pal. Great for your 200,000 downloads. But listen, man, there's no money in that. And there's no stability. And you can't raise a family on that. You can't do that. But why can't I? Why can't I go for my dreams and my aspirations and continue to move forward? Who's to say that I can't? What is it, society? Is it just going to be the fact that it's not a smart decision based on the fact that how many people have failed before? But who's to say that I'm not going to be different? Who's to say, as Eminem says, my one opportunity is there for me to take and I don't take it? Why not? Based on what you say to me? Based on what my friends say to me? Or my family? Listen, I personally believe that a lot of my family members and a lot of people that are really close to me literally look at my podcast like it's a hobby. They look at it like, oh, yeah, it's fun. Okay, great. Yeah, nice. Another you're going to record another episode. That's cool. Awesome. Great job. Right? But at the end of the day, who's to say that I can't make a living off of this? Who's to say that I can't do something to afford my family to be able to be supported based on the fact that I'm going for my dream and I'm taking advantage of the one opportunity that's faced in front of me right now? I've got an audience. I got different avenues to take advantage of. I got different places to go. But who's to say I can't make that different than everybody else that's failed? Or who's to say I can't be like the ones that have been successful? Is there a little luck involved with some of that with social media? Yes. There is. There always is. If you know the right person, you get seen by the right viewer or whatever else. But if you don't put yourself out there and don't do it, you're never going to know. And then again, on your deathbed, you're going to be sitting back looking, going, why didn't I do what my dreams told me I needed to do? Why didn't I get into the things that I said I can do? And self-doubt kicked in, and I didn't think I was good enough to do so. So I just accepted the corporate structure of what society tells me that I've got to go do and make a living off of because society tells me that. Because some book tells me that you got to be a working dad, a working husband that's out there in the world, punching the clock and doing the things that you have to do. At the end of the day, you do you, boo. Right? At the end of the day, are you going to be the one that's going to miss out on the opportunity to take advantage of a dream in your life based on what somebody else says? Based on what another person or another person in society says, what life needs to look like for you, who are you going to listen to? 9 times out of 10, guys, we're listening to those people. We compare our lives to those people. And the ones that are doing some of the things that we want to do in our life. So if it's social media or whatever else you're trying to do, animal rescues, people that are in Peace Corps or whatever else that people are doing, we compare ourselves to them, but we look at them and say, oh man, that's unattainable for me. My life doesn't let me do that. Why not? Why can't you achieve those things that you've always wanted to accomplish? Why do you doubt yourself? This is what we have to work on, guys. These are the things we have to really, really get our heads wrapped around. Because if you can truly go for your dreams, how about this? Even if you go for your dreams and you're full-fledged into it and you're trying to be able to put everything you got into it and you fail, guess what happens at the end of that? One, you're going to learn from it. You're going to learn what worked, what didn't. You're going to learn all your mistakes. You're going to learn literally all the ropes in one swoop, right? You're going to be able to sit down and say, okay, this is what I did wrong. This is what I did right across the board. And we'll learn from it. And we'll be able to grow from it, right? That's the first thing. You're going to be able to learn. And the second thing is you still went for your dreams. You still tried to be able to accomplish the things you're trying to be able to accomplish. Isn't that good enough in itself too? Instead of just punching the clock and doing what society tells you to do? I feel like there's more fulfillment in the fact that you're trying to go for your dreams and your aspirations and all the things you're trying to be able to do in life. And if you do that, or if you try to do that, or you attempt to do that, isn't that a win? I feel it is. It's a moral victory. Now I know moral victories only go so far. But who's to say you can't take everything you learned and you feel good about the fact that you're still attempting to try to go for your dreams and your aspirations, and you learn from them and you're better for it moving forward. And then you can readjust and pivot. And maybe you do have to pick up a side gig to be able to pay the bills, but along the way, learning from everything that you just did to be able to continue to move forward. Now, I only speak to this because I'm speaking from experience. I'm speaking from some of the mistakes that I've made already in this whole social media venture. You know, my buddy John and I, we got together to be able to really, really put together a business model aspect of what we had with No Finish Line Nation, right? We still have it. It's still there. It's still a Facebook group. We're losing some followers and membership on there, but it's okay. We're still trying to be able to continue to move forward. I still have 39,000 people that are on there that are positive influences and everything else, right? And Facebook and social media and all that stuff like that's a really tough pill to swallow. But some of the things that John and I did, and we talked about it on our last video cast that we did, is that we treated it like a business, and we wanted to invest in the business. And so John and I put a lot of money into a lot of different ventures. And we said, you know what? If we're going to go for it, we got to go for it right now. Let's go. While the iron's hot, let's go. And we started throwing these events, one up in Boston and one out in Arizona. And we invested a lot of money into it. And the one out in Arizona did not perform the way that we wanted it to as a business-wise. We knew we had potential, but there was other events that had gone on around the same time. There was also some other social media stuff that was happening, some other events with certain companies that were happening, and it pulled people away. They couldn't travel to two different places. So our overall amount of people that were there was much less than what we expected, and we were on the hook for that. John and I put a lot of money into making sure that we can book the hotel, and the hotel takes the money no matter what. They're gonna get their money. So if we don't fill with enough tickets and the things that we had to do, we learn from it. So this is another one of those steps and moments that we know we're going for our dreams, because we know this is a really, really amazing community, an amazing thing to take advantage of, an amazing thing for us to be able to get up there and create a community for people to be able to just feel like they are part of a group, to feel like they're connected. We gave awards. We did all kinds of great things. There was dancing. There was food. There was open bar for a little bit. All the different things that we were able to do to be able to just make people feel connected and amazing. But overall, financially, it hurt us, and which took a lot of the wins out of the sail for us, right? Did it cause us to walk away and say, I'm done with this? No. Have we learned from a lot of things? Yes. Have we gone full bore to try to be able to continue to push forward? Probably not as much as we should, and this is something that I'm learning. We're learning as we go along. What kind of decisions can we make? What kind of things can we do to be able to be smarter and sharper and crisper and be able to do the things that we want to do, achieving the goals that we want to achieve, be business partners and keep on moving things forward, and still make positive impacts in the world? I know I just went off on a whole tangent just now, but a lot of people that are listening to this podcast also are part of No Finish Line Nation, so they probably had no idea that we buried a lot of money into where we were at, and we were on the hook for all of it. Outside of some of the ticket sales, there was a lot of things that we were trying to be able to do. Some of the sponsors fell through, some of the other things that we had behind the scenes that had happened. Does it negate any of the work that we put into it? No. Am I proud of the work that we put into so far, doing 2 huge events in Boston and Scottsdale, Arizona? Yes, completely. Am I proud of my podcast that I put everything out there to, that I record once a week for you guys and be able to, or actually not just for you guys, but for myself as well, and then also doing the interviews when I'm trying to be able to pick the brains of other entrepreneurs and people that have inspired me? Am I proud of that? Yes. Is it up to like 1 million downloads and 2 million downloads and 3 million downloads? No, not really. It's 200,000. I'm very proud of that. I'm super proud of that. I'm not a major marquee. I'm not a big name. I'm just a guy that's up here trying to be able to make things happen and make a positive impact on people's lives. That's what I'm trying to do. And I'm happy with that. Now, if I can monetize that and be able to move that forward, absolutely. Again, like Eminem says, if you have an opportunity to grab it, will you grab it, or will you just let it pass you by? This is my moment. This is my time to continue to drive forward, no matter what anybody says, no matter what the critics say, no matter what the family says, no matter what the friends say, the people that look at me and say, hey, you know what? I understand you're good at what you do, but there's no future there. There's nothing there for you. Well, you know what? I can prove them wrong too. I can prove them wrong too. Take advantage, people. We only got one shot. We only have a short amount of time on this earth. And you're going to get these opportunities that you listed in the beginning of this podcast, where you listed out the opportunities that have passed you by, the ones that were given to you that you could have taken advantage of, whether it's professionally, whether it's personally, whether it's through your relationship, whatever it is that you listed on that piece of paper. And then when you ask yourself why you didn't take advantage of it, and if it was afforded to you again, would you take advantage of it now? That's where I'm at. I've had many opportunities in my life, whether through the military, whether it's through really, really good friends that I've had, whatever it is across the board, that I haven't taken advantage of fully because I've been afraid. I second guess myself. I don't give myself enough credit. I haven't lifted my worth up as high as I should. I've self-doubted all over the place, whether it's through public speaking or whether it's through putting myself out there on podcast world to be able to have a conversation with you guys and whatever it is. I doubt myself just like everybody else does. And we got to stop. We have to have faith in the fact that we're doing great things and we are worthy of commendation. We're worthy of lifting ourselves up to be able to know that we can accomplish whatever it is we set our mind to. The fact of the matter is, though, is we got to open our eyes and open our ears to know that we have to take advantage of the situation when it arises. You can't just let life muddle and muddy the waters. You can't. We have to keep our eyes on what we're really trying to be able to go for. And don't just accept mediocrity. And don't just accept whatever the status quo is that the society gives you to be able to say, this is what you normally have to do because this is what society tells you. If you want something different, you go get it. Stretch yourself out there. Get uncomfortable. Go get it. You deserve it. Go get what you deserve. And if you slip and fall along the way, just know you're still going for your dreams. Brush yourself off. Step up on the 2 feet, even if you're on one knee, and keep going. You deserve it, and I deserve it. But all of us do. Don't sell yourself short just based on what somebody else tells you or an opinion of where you're at and what you're doing. You're amazing. I'm amazing. Let's go make things happen. So again, to summarize everything, take a look at those opportunities that have passed you by. Just as a reflection point, right? It's taking inventory of how many times you've actually let it go and let pass you by. Then figure out why. Is it self-doubt? Is it the lack of motivation? Is it time? Is it energy? Is it money? Whatever it is. And then take a look at what's going to happen in the future. And make sure that your plan is, I'm going to open my eyes and know that any opportunity that comes my way that I've got to be able to take advantage of. And some of those opportunities you're going to have to create on your own. You are. Because you can't just sit back and wait. You just can't sit back and hopefully things come to you. You've got to go get it. You've got to move forward and go and get it. So the last portion of it is set your goals and go for your goals. Stop settling for anything less than achieving them. Stop settling for anything less than excellence. Mediocrity is not in your agenda. It's not on my agenda. Let's go, right? Let's go make our dreams happen. So if you have to Lose Yourself by Eminem, if you have to open up that line and be able to write that verse down and put it on the mirror and do whatever it is, ask yourself that question. If you're afforded that one opportunity to change your life, if you're afforded that one opportunity to achieve your dreams and your goals, would you take it or would you let it pass you by? Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you for listening to today's podcast. Please do us a favor and leave feedback and a 5-star rating on whatever platform that you use.